it's me, JBR, coming at you with another Theater Thursday. As you know, every Thursday I do a movie review. This time I'm going to be doing Legally Blonde, starring Reese Witherspoon from 2001. This movie is very good. I wanted to do this movie, so let's get started. But if you haven't seen this movie or you don't know anything about it, consider this your spoiler alert. Dramatic pause for dramatic effect. Okay, here we go. Okay, so, Legally Blonde stars Reese Witherspoon, or her character's name is Elle. She's that typical, or she's stapled as that stereotypical, like, valley girl, like that, you know, she's stapled as, like, that, everybody thinks of her as, like, the dumb blonde. Like, nobody sees her, like, seriously. Everybody sees that kind of, like, oh, we should totally get lattes type of personality. And she's not. She actually is, like, really smart, and she, like, really puts her mind and heart into things when she wants to. Like, if she wants to go for something, she's really gonna, like, push to get it. But nobody really sees that in her. At least not until she's been dating this guy in her school for a long time. And he went right when she thought he was going to propose to her, that he actually dumped her because he was going to Harvard Law School. And he thought that she wasn't, like, serious enough for his lifestyle, and that she wasn't, like, the right direction for what he wanted. So obviously she gets all upset. So she's like, well, I gotta win him back. So she decides to study really hard and decides to get into Harvard Law School to try to follow him to win him back. So she, like, does all this testing, and then she gets into Harvard Law, and then obviously when she gets there, he's, like, really surprised to see her. Like, why are you here? You're, in a way, in the back of his mind, he's like, she's a dumb blonde. What is she doing here? Like, are you here to visit me type of thing? And she's like, no, I go here. And then he's like, you go where? And she's like, Harvard Law School. And then he's like, you got into Harvard Law? And she's like, yeah, like, it's hard. And then she walks away. Because, you know, again, she thought of it as that stupid blonde. And in a way, when she first gets there, everybody sees nothing but that valley girl stereotype, and that, like, too positive for everything, and that because it's her first day, she's, like, unprepared, and she doesn't know any of the assignments, so, you know, a lot of the students are, like, against her, because they don't think she belongs in Harvard Law, and then, like, the teachers all are against her, too, because, like, she's not ready. They don't think that she's ready to, like, take the serious step to learn, and she really is, but she just didn't know. So they throw her out of her class, and then she's, like, sitting, and she's like, oh, did they just put you on the spot like that? And then she meets this guy. His name is Emmett, and he's a lawyer also, and, like, he gives her advice on, like, what to do with each class, you know, like, what the teachers expect of you, and, like, how to make the class seem easier in a way. And then, you know, she bumps in her friend. Then she says thanks, and then she leaves to go see her friend Warner, or her ex-boyfriend Warner. And then she's like, oh, it's okay, you know, I just got thrown out of class, but I'll be okay. But then his fiance walks up, and she's automatically, like, not starstruck, but she's shocked that he has a fiance, because she thought she was going to be his fiance. And it was actually a really mean girl in her class that actually, like, decided with the teacher to get her thrown out. And she thinks that her name is Vivian, but she thinks that this girl is really mean, and then, like, she's not the perfect one for Warner and stuff like that. So she storms off all upset, and then she goes to the nail salon to, like, de-stress, and she you know, becomes really, and she's like, she starts talking to the nail artist, saying, I had a bad day, and I don't know what I'm gonna do about my boyfriend, or I want to win back my boyfriend. And she's like, well, you know, if a girl like you can't hold on to a man, there's no hope for the rest of us. And so she's like, oh, well, go steal the bastard back. And then, so she studies really, really hard to, like, help, you know, to do better in her classes, and then like she starts to impress the teachers, and she starts to like shock the other students who are like against her in the thinking that she doesn't belong. So, but they keep trying to like, that girl Vivian keeps trying to like, I don't know how to say it, like rank her down, I guess, in a way. Like she doesn't, like Vivian has a party. She's telling, oh, everybody should come, but she doesn't want to invite Elle. But then she invites her, but then she tricks her, saying it's a costume party. And then Elle goes as if it were a costume party, and she's dressed like the Playboy bunny. And obviously everybody else is in regular clothing, and she's like in her swimsuit, and obviously she gets really embarrassed, and she sees that nobody really cares, or nobody really took her seriously right when they thought she was, right when they thought they were at least. So she gets all upset, and then she decides to like try to forget about them and like really try to focus on being the lawyer that she thinks she has to be. And then so she actually gets into this, like, how can I say this? Okay, she gets into this, like, she's put into this assignment, and it's her teacher and, like, a few other of the lawyer kids from her class to help with this murder investigation. It's this woman who's framed for murdering her husband. Now, they think that she did it because her husband was, like, 36 years older than her, so they thought, oh, maybe, like a gold digger type of situation. Oh, maybe she murdered him for the money. But she really did love her husband, but she's like it seems that she's proven so guilty because there was blood on her hands, she was found standing over the body, and there was time to hide away the gun and all this other stuff. So like there was in a way so little proof to prove that her innocence, but they were going to try anyway. So Elle becomes like really close friends with the woman who was framed, because she actually used to go to the college that Elle went to. She was a Delta Nu. And so, she, like, entrusts her with, like, her alibis, and she, like, trusts her with, like, her knowledge of where she was during the murder. And Elle actually figures out, like, all these little things about the murder and, like, what happened, but her teacher doesn't want to listen because he's like, again, he also starts to have like that mindset of like, oh, she's just a dumb blonde, she doesn't know anything, and that's because he was a creep and he tried to hit on her and she rejected him, obviously. So I think he went back to that mentality of she doesn't belong in law school type of thing. So so she's finding out all these little, like, things that are supposedly linked up to this woman's murder, but there's not. Like, there's this, they said that she was having an affair with, like, with the pool boy, but he ended up being gay and stuff like that. So, the woman who was framed for murder actually ends up firing the teacher as her lawyer, and she actually ends up having Elle as her lawyer and as her representative. And then the judge and all the jury people are like, what is she doing? She's so going to end up for prison because she's just a student. What does she know? But then she's asking the guy who got murdered, she's asking his daughter, right? Like, all these questions. Oh, what did you do that day? And she keeps saying about being in the shower because when he was shot, she was supposedly in the shower and she didn't hear the gunshot. And by the time she was done, the wife would have had time to hide away the gun. But then she's like, what did you do previously that day? And she's like, oh, I got a latte, I got a perm, and I came home. And she's like, and then you got in the shower. And she's like, yeah, it's clear that I got in the shower. And then she's like, you're right. And then she's like, how many times have you gotten a perm? And then she answers, and then she leads it up to that, okay, there's a certain, like, chemical when you get a perm that you're not supposed to get your hair wet. So you can't ruin your perm. So, obviously, she couldn't have been in the shower if she wanted to keep her perm because whatever, and her curls were still intact, so she obviously should have heard the gunshot. She should have, been there before, if the wife did shoot him, she should have been there before she could hide away the gun. But then she's like, oh, I didn't mean to shoot him, and I thought it was you running through the door, and she, pointed at the wife. So it's proven that actually the daughter shot the husband thinking it was the wife. And then the girl gets arrested, and then everybody's like, oh my God, because they didn't think she could do it, and she did, and she proved the wife's innocence. And then so, everybody's saying she's brilliant and what a good job she did, and then Warner is like, oh, I miss you, I want you back, I realize that you're the one for me, like, trying to, like, grovel back into her life, whatever. But she's like, if I'm going to be in a top law firm before I'm 30, I'm going to need a boyfriend that's not such a bonehead. And then she walks out. And it's like, and then you cut to graduation, and she fills out the rest of the 3 years of law school. She actually ends up becoming a lawyer. She found that she actually likes being a lawyer. She actually, finds, like happiness in trying to prove people's innocence and, like, trying to get people their rights and whatever. So, like, she really did find, like, happiness in that strict environment. And anyway, but she speaks at her graduation about how first impressions aren't, like, what they seem, and, like, how to follow your dreams, and you have to have faith in yourself. And then at the end, it's, like, saying about what happened, like, with Fonz. Like, her and Vivian actually ended up being friends. Warner and Vivian ended up breaking up. He ended up without a job, without, like, honors, and without all this other stuff. And then Emmett and her ended up dating. And then he ended up proposing. It says that he was going to propose to her that night. And then that's when you lead to the sequel. If you guys want me to do the sequel, link it down in the comments, because that's also a great movie. But then that wraps up the end of the movie. It's a good movie. I really like the message of, like, finding what you want in the randomest of place. I guess, like, she went in wanting to get Warner, and then she actually ended up finding that she actually does like doing law school stuff. So if I had to rate it, I guess, like, I'll give it, like, a 4 out of 5. Here's why I don't give it a 5. Okay, how can I say this? Don't try to follow, like, don't try to change your whole life for a guy. Does that make sense? Like, don't try to, like, her boyfriend went into law school. She's like, oh, so I'm going to be a lawyer. Don't try to do that. Like, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to be happy, that's fine. But, like, if you both like the same profession. But if it's like, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer, her boyfriend's going to be a lawyer, and then she wasn't going to be, and then she just decides to switch at the drop of a hat just to get him, like, don't do that. Don't compromise what you want, and don't change yourself for a guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you want, what you like to do in life should be more important, and then you'll find a guy or a girl, whatever your preference is, that likes you for you and what you do. It shouldn't matter what, job you have or whatever. But that wraps up this video. If you have any suggestions of what else you want to see, write it down in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!